Hello YouTube, the Doctor is here once again bringing you my review of Guardians of the Galaxy. So let's get started, shall we? So Guardians of the Galaxy is the 10th movie of Marvel's cinematic universe that basically sets up Avengers 2, which comes out next year. And boy oh boy, this movie was a big risk for Marvel. I mean, a lot of people don't even know who the Guardians of the Galaxy are because they got a talking raccoon and they got a talking tree. So a lot of people who don't know, who don't really read comic books, they don't know who they are. So Marvel took a really big chance in doing this, and this movie is very good actually. This movie is directed by James Gunn and stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Vin Diesel as the voice of Groot, Bradley Cooper as the voice of Rocket Raccoon, and Dave Bautista as Drax. And this movie is very cool. I actually enjoyed this movie a lot. Very different from what the other Marvel movies are because this takes place deep into space, and you don't even know, does this even tie into the Marvel world? Oh yeah, it does, because this shows a lot of stepping stones that go into the movies of the other movies, and you'd be like, you watch them, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like this movie a lot. This movie was great. So yeah, let's start with the beginning. Basically, this movie is about there's a group of people who just one Star-Lord. Basically, he's an outcast. Something happened to him when he was a child. Can't really give you details. I don't want to do spoilers, but he goes into space and he becomes a bounty hunter. And he decides, you know what, he robs and he decides, get quick buck, to get some money. Then he gets caught because a lot of people want him dead, and then he goes to a place where he ends up meeting like a jail kind of place. But then he ends up meeting the other members who get into their own trouble. So that's why they end up locked up in there. So they all now have to figure out a way to break out and try to become together as one. So let's start with Star-Lord. Chris Pratt did this movie well. He had sarcasm. He was a bad mouth talker. He did what he wanted. He was hilarious. This movie was funny. That's what James Gunn does. He's a comedic director. He did a horror movie called Slither. If you've never seen that movie, go check that out. And that movie was hilarious for a horror movie. And most horror movies are not funny, but this shows that the humor in this is great. Chris Pratt, yeah, I loved him as Star-Lord. He showed that he could be this character, and he was fantastic. And then there was Zoe Saldana. She played Gamora, and finally a female character who's not always screaming for help me, help me, help me all the time, like in those Transformers movies where all the girls are running around screaming for help. Now this character kicks butt. She basically doesn't give a damn about anybody. She has a little backstory of the main villain. She's related to the main villain. If you know the other Marvel movies, you'll know about this one. You know about it. And she was great. I mean, that's why I want to see a female character who can take control and protect herself, and not have to have a guy protect her or some other person helping her out. When she does need help, she has her help, of course. But when she doesn't, she can prove that she can do her own thing. It's always Adana did that perfectly. And then there's Dave Bautista. If you don't know who he is, he's a former WWE superstar, part-timer kind of thing. He was great too. Kind of wish they did with his backstory a little bit more, but it's just a movie. It just starts, so no, this franchise is gonna grow, and eventually we will get more details about their background of all of them. Bradley Cooper did the voice of Rocket Raccoon, and he was awesome. Rocket Raccoon was a CGI raccoon with a gun who basically teams up with Groot, who's a big living alien tree, who's voiced by Vin Diesel, and he can only say 3 words, I am Groot. But he does really talk, but in 3 words of humans language, I am, and that's pretty much it, and then his name Groot. But those two characters were hilarious, had great chemistry together, they were great, they were funny, they always teamed up together to do the common good, and then they all had to come in together to become the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, there are moments in this movie I felt like, okay, that could have been better. Maybe the villains in this movie, I liked the villain Ronan. He was good for what he was, but he didn't feel like he he was a villain on his own. You know, he had a master that he had to obey. But, you know, I really wish they showed more about his backstory, because it really didn't say anything. Because he had a plan to destroy certain planets, but you don't really know why he wanted to do it. I mean, he's like, oh, I want to destroy this planet. I mean, no reason why he wanted to do it. There was no backstory to it of what happened or why he wanted to do it. But, you know, whatever. He was still cool, but, you know, I really wish they can give us more details about the villain's backstory, why they want to do this, and this, and that. Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it was great. Marvel did a great job of rolling the dice, taking a chance, and showing us this movie, because it was awesome. That's why I personally am giving it a 10. Yes, I said it, 10. 3 Marvel movies, perfect 10s. For me personally, it's not as good as Captain America 2, but it's right there. But I liked it a lot. Giving it a 10. It was great. I loved it. The humor was great. The action scenes were fantastic. The chemistry between all the actors and the characters were great. I love this movie a lot. I recommend go seeing Guardians of the Galaxy if you haven't seen it already. Stay after the credits if you want, if you even care. If you're a comic book fan and you know about the Guardians, you will know who's in this at the after credits. And this does tie into the Avengers too, so stay tuned for that. And if you want to see more, let me know and comment below. Thank you very much, and good day.